welcome back to the deep dive. If you thought AFT Dice Season 11 was, settling down, you were wildly mistaken.
Not even close.
We've just processed the dataset from the weekend, and we're calling it mid-season mayhem. This simulation league has just delivered absolute chaos.
It's astonishing, really. We've got the full match reports, power rankings that have completely flipped, and a big preview for round 12.
Right. Our mission today is pretty straightforward. Unpack the shocking results from Saturday, January 10th, and figure out what it all means heading into the midweek games.
And there were really two types of wins this round, weren't there?
Exactly.
The whole league is defined by this volatility right now. You either had these massive percentage-boosting thrashings or these stomach-churning one-point thrillers. There was no in between.
Okay, let's unpack this. We have to start with the surprises, because they totally reshaped the top 8. The undisputed shock of the round, it happened down at the Fortress.
That's right. Collingwood, defeating the Geelong Cats by 12 points at GMHBA.
And look at the score. Collingwood 19.19-133 to Geelong's 18.121.
Yeah, this was no defensive grind. This was a shootout, and the Pies somehow stormed Cardinia Park with a huge last quarter. They just snatched it.
That's massive. Not just because it's Geelong's home ground, but how they did it. The reports say Geelong's midfield just stopped tracking.
Allowed Collingwood to win those center clearances and get the ball inside 50 way too easily.
That's going to stall Geelong's momentum for sure.
And if that wasn't enough, the second major shock was just as telling. The Western Bulldogs.
The Dogs.
Beating the West Coast Eagles by 42 points at Marvel.
42 points is a statement. This wasn't a close one. The reports called it a ferocious pressure performance.
It was. For the Dogs, a team just hovering, this changes the whole narrative around their season.
Yeah, they put the Eagles under the kind of pressure you usually see from, finals contenders.
The data backs that up. Relentless tackling, contested possessions. It just choked West Coast's run-and-carry game. They forced errors the Eagles just don't normally make.
Okay, so from total shock to heart-stopping tension, the game at the Gabba.
Wow, the emotional weight of a single point. Brisbane Lions defeating Port Adelaide 99-98.
The report said the Lions snatch it in the dying seconds.
It was the closest finish of the round, and you just know Port is absolutely devastated.
And it really highlights that razor-thin margin, doesn't it? Port Adelaide is now 4-7. To lose the game like that, it's just brutal.
It's the difference between feeling like you have hope and feeling like you're just stuck.
Meanwhile, other teams weren't bothering with close finishes.
No, they were just running up the score. Let's talk about the percentage massacres.
Right. We saw some incredible goal kicking. The biggest win goes to Fremantle. The Dockers just ran riot, demolishing Gold Coast by 60 points.
The final score was 133-73, and their accuracy, 21 goals from 28 scoring shots. That is frighteningly efficient.
60 points. That's the kind of boost you dream of mid-season.
And they weren't alone. Hawthorn put on a clinic against Essendon, kicking 22 goals in a 56-point win.
St. Kilda, too. They rebounded in brutal fashion against Richmond, smashing them by 45.
It's a trend, you see. When defensive structures break in this league, they break spectacularly. Sydney piled on 19 goals to blow Carlton away by 41.
So round 11 was basically brutal goal-kicking practice. Except for one game we should mention.
Ah, yes, Melbourne. A needed victory, but a grinding one. They beat a winless North Melbourne by 17 points.
The score was 70-53. They got the job done, but the analysis still says no statement wins for them.
Exactly. They won, but they didn't scare anyone, and that can be a deeper problem sometimes.
Okay, so that's the round. The winners. Collingwood, Hawthorn, the Dogs, Melbourne, Brisbane, Freo, Adelaide, Sydney, and St. Kilda. Let's see how that chaos translated to the power rankings.
The rankings really did get shock therapy. The biggest change is right at the top, and it's all about percentage. Fremantle, now 7-4, jumped to number 1.
Number 1, after one big win.
Well, that 60-point demolition boosted their percentage to 116.8%.
But is that sustainable? Or is it just a percentage fluke?
I think it's sustainable. The source material has their new formula. Defense plus scoring equals the new ladder leaders. Their defense has been solid. Now they've added the scoring.
Okay. And right behind them, Adelaide holds strong at number 2 after beating GWS. Still an elite percentage for them.
And then you have St. Kilda and Brisbane rounding out the top 4. It's just so dense and competitive up there.
So who are the biggest climbers from that messy middle?
The Western Bulldogs. They jumped right up to number 7. They're 5-6 now, with a percentage of 107.5%. The sleeping giant awakens is what they're calling it.
After 2 huge wins, you can see why.
And let's not forget the Sydney Swans. They're still 4-7, but they climbed to 10th. That win over Carlton proved their season is not dead. They finally showed some fight.
Right, but on the flip side, the dramatic falls. Who took the biggest hit?
Geelong. They dropped sharply to number 6 after losing at home. Their percentage fell right back to 100.0%. All that momentum just gone.
West Coast.
An even harder fall. Down to number 9. That 42-point shock loss to the Dogs. It's a huge stain. They're really struggling as road warriors interstate.
To drop out of the 8 with 7 wins, that percentage hit was just brutal.
Exactly. And down the bottom, it's getting grim.
Carlton.
Number 17. Circling the drain, especially after that loss to the Swans. And North Melbourne, despite fighting, is just bottom locked in at 2 wins.
The middle, though, is where the real volatility is. Richmond's at 12, 6, and 5, but their defense was exposed again.
Lethal in attack, but they can't stop the bleeding. It's a tightrope walk for them every week.
And Essendon's revival seems to be over.
Oh, absolutely. That 56-point loss was a return back to reality with a vengeance.
Which brings us to round 12, kicking off midweek, Wednesday, January 14th. The latter is about to flip again.
For sure. The midweek schedule means those teams that took a hit have to redeem themselves instantly or just sink further.
So what's the game of the round? The one we have to watch?
It has to be Richmond versus the new number 1, Fremantle, at the MCG.
Ooh, the Dockers are on fire against the Tigers team that was stung last week.
Huge implications. The clash of Richmond's attack versus Fremantle's defense is just fascinating.
What's the tip?
Fremantle by 8 points. It's narrow, which respects Richmond's home ground advantage, but the Dockers' form is too good right now.
Okay, let's talk locks. Who gets the easy percentage boost this round?
That's pretty straightforward. Brisbane Lions versus North Melbourne at the Gabba.
Yeah, that feels like a mismatch.
A big one. The prediction is Brisbane by 62 plus, a classic percentage special to keep them in the top 4.
And the upset alert. Where's that brewing?
We're looking at Metricon, Gold Coast Suns versus Port Adelaide. The Suns are decent at home, and Port, well, they're desperate, but probably emotionally exhausted.
After that 1-point loss, I'd imagine so.
The tip is a home upset, Gold Coast by 12.
What about the 2 wounded teams from the top 8? Geelong and West Coast, do they bounce back?
The expectation is yes. Geelong is tipped to win by 24 against Essendon. They'll want to take out their frustration on someone.
And West Coast needs a home win desperately.
They do. They're predicted to use that Perth Fortress mentality and win by 31 against Hawthorn. If they can't win at Optus, their season is in real trouble.
And we have the Rising Dogs against Melbourne. That's a huge form clash.
It really is. The Bulldogs are tipped to keep rolling, beating Melbourne by 9, and St. Kilda is predicted to win by 35 over Carlton. A game of pressure versus a fading team.
So what does this all mean? Round 11 was pure mid-season mayhem. We have shocking upsets, huge percentage boosts, and the top of the ladder looks completely different.
And the tension for round 12 is clear. Can a team like Fremantle consolidate that number 1 spot? Or will teams like West Coast and Geelong find immediate redemption before they slide too far?
Which raises an important question, something for you, the listener, to think about. We've got 4 teams on 7 wins and 2 on 8. But right below them, you have Hawthorn on 6 wins with a great percentage and Collingwood with a worrying one.
Given this extreme volatility, these massive goal differentials, how much more important is percentage becoming than just raw wins? In this league where the gap between the best and the rest is growing, percentage might just be the single most crucial metric for figuring out who really belongs in that top 8, more so than just the number in the W column.